Okay, we're ready whenever you're ready.
July 16, 2025, around 7:00 p.m. Can we have Ms. Irene read the land and labor acknowledgements?
Land acknowledgement.
And really quick, sorry, right before that, I'm going to do the roll call if that's okay. So let's do position number 7, representing Canby and Malala, Irene Konev.
Here.
Position number 5, representing West Lynn and Wilsonville, Ryan Ingersoll is absent this evening. Position number 4, representing Oregon City, Josephine Joe Crenshaw.
Here.
Position number 3, representing Gladstone and Johnson City, Wade Hathorn.
Here.
Position number 2, representing Clackamas and Happy Valley, Rob Wheeler.
Here.
Position number 1, representing Milwaukee, Kathy Heisey.
Here.
Position number 6, representing Estacada and Colton, Jane Reed, I think is going to be jumping on a bit later. So she's not here currently, and we'll announce her when she joins. Thank you.
Thank you.
Clackamas Community College land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the Clackamas Community College campuses reside on the traditional homelands of the Clackamas, Cascade, and Tumwater bands of the Chinooks, as well as the Tualatin and Pudding River bands of Kalapuya and the Northern Malala people. They lived and prospered by maintaining strong cultural ties to the land and through wise management of resources. As signers of the Willamette Valley Treaty of 1855, they were removed from their homelands to the Grand Ronde Indian Reservation, where they became members of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde. Please join us in taking this opportunity to thank and honor the original caretakers of this land, their lives, and their descendants that live on as tribal members today, still carrying on the traditions and cultures of their ancestors. And the CCC labor acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the foundation and wealth of the United States was built upon the forced labor of enslaved African people, involuntary and trafficked indigenous labor, and the often exploited labor of immigrant domestic farm workers. Their vital contributions and resilience in spite of violence, terror tactics, and bloodshed are an integral part of understanding our nation's past, present, and hope of what's to come. The prosperity many enjoy today is rooted in centuries of labor extracted under conditions of injustice, inequity, inequality, and ongoing systemic oppression. Acknowledging this truth is a step forward, a step towards honoring those who were denied justice and toward creating a future that is more equitable, inclusive, and humane.
Thank you, Irene. The Clackamas Community College Board of Education's welcome community members to attend board meetings to become acquainted with the programs and operations of the college district. Now is the time for the regular public comment period, where anyone can speak on any item except the agenda item 7.1, because that public hearing will be held later in the meeting. Please keep comments to 3 minutes or less. Katie?
There is no one registered at this time for a public comment, and I did notice that Chair Jane Reed has now joined us, so I wanted to notate that for the record.
Good.
And I don't know if Jane wants to take it over from here, or if
Sure, if you would like, because what we're moving into maybe would be a good place for me to jump in. And I'm sorry I couldn't get on. I had Zoom troubles. But so we are now going, and thank you, Joe, for doing that. It was just really awful being over here watching that time click away and me just not getting anywhere close to being on Zoom. So thank you for jumping in. Right now we'll be going to election of officers and oath of office. So for the re-elected board directors for zones 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7. So I guess could Rob Wheeler, Wade Hathorn, Joe Crenshaw, me, I will not, and Irene Konev, please stand at the dais or sit on your chair if it's me, and point your microphones up so that when you speak, you're still speaking into the microphones. We will now have Board Recorder Katie Riggs conduct the oath of office.
So I know this is a bit awkward. Normally we would have you come forward, but there's so many of you this time. I thought it would just be easier if you just stood in place. And if you could just raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, and then say your name, do hereby affirm
Do hereby affirm
that I will support the laws
that I will support the laws
and constitutions of the United States of America
and constitutions of the United States of America
and the state of Oregon,
and the state of Oregon,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
discharge the duties of my office
discharge the duties of my office
as a member of the Board of Directors
as a member of the Board of Directors
of Clackamas Community College representing,
of Clackamas Community College representing
and then state your zone
Zone 6
to the best of my ability throughout my term.
to the best of my ability throughout my term.
Thank you all so much. Congratulations. You have all signed your official oath and you all have copies there at your dais. So I appreciate that.
Wonderful. So we're official and this is wonderful. So as this is our first regular meeting for the 2025-26 school year, we need to elect a new chair and a vice chair. We'll start with the chair position. Does anyone have a nomination for board chair?
I'd like to nominate Joe Crenshaw.
I second.
Okay. Okay, we have a nomination and a second. Are there any other nominations for board chair? Okay, so let's vote by acclamation. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay, aye. All right. Those opposed say no. And are there any abstentions? So Joe Crenshaw has been selected as board chair for the 2025-26 school year. And I will now turn the meeting over to the new chair. So I wish I was there, Joe, to pass this on to you, but this is great that you're doing this. You're going to be a wonderful chair.
Thank you so much, Jane.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
As board chair for the 2025-26, I will now turn this meeting over to me. Now we will open the floor for the nominations of the vice chair.
I would like to nominate Wade Hathorn for vice chair.
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? If there are none, then let's vote by acclamation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And are there any abstentions? Once the Wade Hathorn, you are now the new vice chair. of
Yay.
25. All right, let's continue on. And this is going to be a little choppy this evening because I have to read these things. And I'm not like Irene, I'm like Jane, who has it memorized. But I want to thank you all for
I make it up.
you made it up. Thank you, board members, and thank you to Jane for a previous year as the chair and Wade for stepping up for the vice chair position. We will now turn the meeting over to Katie for the oath of offices.
Yes, so as the new chair and vice chair, you also have to affirm an oath of office. So at the end of this question, you will just say, I do, or yes, to agree and affirm this oath of office. Do you affirm that you will support the laws and Constitution of the United States of America and the state of Oregon, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office to the best of your ability?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you again. All right. Tonight, our consent agenda consists of the following items. We'll continue along. We will look for an approval of 1A through 2D below. And the minutes say regular session and budget hearing, 6/25/2025. The annual administrative authorization. Acceptance of 2A monthly financial reports, 2B personnel reports, and 2C bond update, 2D spring enrollment report. Does anyone wish to pull anything from this consent agenda for discussion? Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 There is none that
We can use
opposed.
my affirmation.
Are there any abstentions? Please state for in the record, is there a motion, if the motion passes for us? Then we move for affirmation.
So the motion passes.
Yes,
Thank you.
now. Now we're at public hearing. Is that? Resolution number R 252603, adoption of findings and authorization for the use of construction manager, general contractor, CM/GC approach for the Natural Resources Center of Excellence. We'll now be holding a public hearing regarding the resolution. Adoption of the findings and authorization for the use of this construction manager contractor. To begin, I would like to invite Vice President Jeff Schaefer, Dean Ron Prince, and owners Representative Dale Kukendow to come forward to the speaker's table and remind us of the presentation we heard regarding this item last meeting. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Do you want to? Sure. Thank you for having us this evening. Last month, we talked about the process for determining the method of procuring our general contractor for the bond work. It was a deliberative process where we evaluated hard bid and CMGC to determine the best course for the new construction. We summarized all our findings in the draft findings that were included in your package last month, and published notice that we were doing a first reading, and that occurred at the last board meeting. And so here tonight, we're here for the public hearing portion of the process and answering questions you might have.
Thank you. And first, I'll just say good evening, Chair Crenshaw and fellow board members. I'm Jeff Schaefer, Vice President CFO of the college. One thing I did want to add was we had a public comment come in via email just prior to our last board meeting. It was, we didn't have a chance to address it at the time because it had come in right as a comment before. I did want to just give a quick update on that. It was regarding the OSU extension and that relationship that we've been working on for this project of the Natural Resources Center of Excellence. I did want to note that while we haven't signed an official MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, in that partnership yet. So technically, we don't have any formal agreement that the OSU extension is going to be there. So we couldn't do anything even if we wanted to formally with the OSU extension at this point on documentation. But we've been working very collaboratively with the extension. We had involved them heavily in our selection process for the architects. We just finished a meet and greet where all the programs got together, discussed what they did, kind of got an idea of what things could look like, and got a lot of excitement going. So we've been working very closely. Also wanted to note that because we'd felt there was a little bit of misunderstanding of like what would the OSU extension be bringing to this project, we created a task force. So it's the leaders of OSU extension, the leaders of CCC with President Cook, myself, and the leadership team. And then even have County Commissioner Martha Schrader on that group. We've been meeting to discuss what's this look like, what's a joint decision-making group. So as program decisions happen, we can meet as a task force to actually help guide the project. We did have language, I don't know if everybody recalls, 120-page document you all got from our bond council about issuing bonds. Tax exempt general obligation bonds have a lot of restrictions, and part of that language was the college needs to maintain control of any assets you're building with these funds because of all these very restrictive things that you can and can't put in those buildings. So they did actually, when they heard about the task force, they said, well, let me draft you a letter of what you can and can't do. Part of that letter, which I brought, if the board wanted to see it, I could always give it to Katie and she could forward it. It says that even if you have a joint project, the college needs to maintain full control of all design and construction elements of any projects using bond funds. So we gave that to the task force, so they're well aware that even though they can't formally like vote and say we want a barn or something like that, then it may not comply. They know that they're more of a recommendation body, that we will come to consensus. I'm part of that task force, so I will be there to know where something's there. But ultimately, we have to make that, any language we have has to say we make the final decision based on that legal language with those tax exempt bond funds. So I did want to at least make sure the board knew that element of these projects. So any questions on that?
Just to thank you, that comports with my understanding. I, in my day job, deal with the Department of Administrative Services a fair amount, and how public dollars are spent. You really need to be accountable for that to the public. And this is the way that DAS can make sure that there's a clear understanding of how money's being spent and who's making the decisions. And it's great to hear that there's collaboration going on with the OSU Extension folks, and I think that should go a long way toward just building, building the relationship foundation that we need to make the physical foundation be the building that everyone needs to fulfill the really cool things that are going to happen in it. I think I'm super excited about this project, so I'm glad to see this go forward. I love that. This is the process that has been selected to do the work. I think it also goes with just the overall intent of the building and the programs that will go in it. So I don't have any further questions.
Thank you.
So what I would ask of you, Chair, is if you could continue with the script and open the public hearing. We do have one member of the public that would like to speak on behalf of the public hearing, and then there will be some discussion and question time for the board after that.
Now is an opportunity for the public to speak to the board about the alternative contracting approach and findings only. The public comment period for other college business was earlier in the meeting and will not be heard at this time. To ensure all voices are heard, please share your comments regarding this item before the close of the public hearing. During the hearing, we ask that you abide by the following rules. Please clearly state your first and last name and the city of residency before you begin. Direct your comments to me, the board chair. Keep the comments to 3 minutes or less. There will be a digital timer displayed on the TV screen. I will be interrupting the speaker at the 3-minute mark. No one may share or delegate their 3-minute time period to another individual. The board will not hear complaints concerning individual college district personnel. If you have a complaint, please follow the appropriate complaint process available on the college website. The board does not engage during this hearing, but we are here to listen. I will now open the public hearing.
So we do have one member of the public that would like to speak. They have registered in advance and they are virtual, so they're on the Zoom. So we would like to ask Garrett Pryor, if you could please unmute yourself at this time. And if you could begin by stating your first and last name and city of residency for the record, and then begin with your public comment. Hi, Garrett. Go ahead and unmute yourself. There you go.
Hi, sorry, I just moved over from YouTube. Is this the time where I talk? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So if you can start by stating your first and last name and city of residency
I
for the
can't
record.
hear you back.
Oh, you can't hear us back. Hold on. Can you hear us now? No. Microphone. Phone blast. Should be working. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now? Should I start
Yeah, you can go ahead and start if you can hear us.
test talk?
Yeah, we can't. We're not chatting.
Okay, I'll just start talking. I see a thumbs up. Thank you. Excellent. Thanks, Kathy. Hi, everyone. Garrett Pryor, he, him pronouns. I'm here to speak as a supporter of the community college and OSU Extension 4-H district. Thanks so much for the report out we just got from administration on what we're doing to work with OSU Extension on the furtherance of this very exciting project. I think the GMGC method is the right path. I've been in community development and construction for 15 years. This is a unique facility. It needs this unique kind of contracting approach and not the lowest bidder. I would just say as we get through this task force, and I've been coordinating with Angela and Leah from the OSU Extension, that as we have the dollars that would come in from the service district, from OSU, that level of decision-making or authority it is respected and incorporated into the MOU and the decision-making process there. So I know we have to keep the colors of money different and separate, and there's authority over that. But I just know from the OSU Extension 4-H side, this has been a project they've been saving for a decade plus now. And so there's just a lot of, angst and consternation and really attention drawn to this kind of once in a lifetime investment for them and to get this right. So I think this is headed on a good path, but just continuing to check in on the task force and the MOU development and just to let you know, I just wanted to introduce myself here tonight. I'm a big supporter and I'll be tracking this as we deliver this wonderful facility. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comments, Garrett.
And that is the only person that we have registered for the public hearing this evening.
All right. I will now close the public hearing. The floor is now open for discussion by the board or from anything that we have here on what Jeff and team has presented to us. Any discussions? Any comments?
I'll just make a comment. I know we've done this process before. I was in my experience in Happy Valley, we also use this process and it was quite effective in building our city hall over there. You kind of got the knowledgeable ones involved in running things, and that's their backgrounds, and it's a great collaboration, it felt in the past. So Seems a wise move. Thank you.
Any other comments? I would entertain an motion.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number R 25 2603, adopting findings and authorizing the use of alternative contracting, construction manager, general contractor approach for the Natural Resources Center of Excellence.
I'll second.
It's moved in second. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those who oppose? There are no abstentions. The motion passes. And that is resolution number R 25/26-03. Right. Thank you, Jeff. You guys can get to work now.
They're actually going to stay up here for the next item.
That one. All right. We're now are we on the new business? Resolution number 25/26-04. Contracting with Target Sports Construction Northwest for the Bond Athletic Improvements. Action of our first resolution, R 25/26/04. I'd like to invite Dean, Ron Prince, and owner Dale Kuykendall to present this item.
Thank you, Board and new Chair Joe Crenshaw. Appreciate your time tonight. Congratulations, by the way. We're here tonight to seek the board's approval to enter into contract with Target Sports for the design and construction of athletic department improvements. We entered into a early design contract with Field Turf that yielded some project budgets for the different scopes of the projects that we were looking at. We used those proposals and budgets to develop the $17 million project and are seeking approval tonight to implement that as well. I'll let Dale Kuykendall, our owner's rep, talk further about this. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron, and thanks for having us back up. Went through a good design process and budgeting exercise over the past 2 months. You folk had heard some reports along the way. This is your first real look at that product. So we've got some slides that show the scope of work and then some renderings of the proposed facility. So this is really the start of a fairly fast-tracked approach to start getting some work in the ground this fall. And the first work that'll occur will be the ball fields. And then moving in towards the grandstand construction, and then after track season, the track and field portion of the projects will get developed. There's a variety of ancillary buildings throughout the project too, and you'll see some of those on the renderings. So the first slide kind of shows the scope of work, things that are part of this package. The packet that you received has some more detail than this, but at a high level, a big grandstand partially covered with a press box that doesn't exist hardly at all now. In fact, I think there's no grandstands on that side. NCAA size track and also in a related storage building for all of the equipment there. This will enable the college to get rid of some of the Conex storage boxes that are scattered around the site. Throws and jumps areas, in addition to the work that's happening out there on the field now. By the coaches' generous donation, there'll be additional work done closer to the track area for those activities. The big turf soccer field with a scoreboard, lighting for the track, field, and soccer areas. Jeff, you might want to comment on other potential activities there, perhaps. Restroom building, the location of which is still being discussed. Mentioned the baseball and softball facilities. Those also get new bleacher and dugout improvements. Going to try to utilize as much of those existing facilities as we can, particularly the dugouts. And then site improvements. There'll be a lot better ADA access to all the facilities, more direct paths to where folks need to go. And we're talking about creating an area for food carts to come in for special events. So that's the highlights of the scope.
You ready? This is the great part.
Yeah, you ready? Here's the fun part.
Here's the fun part.
So there it is. So it seems so real, yet it's just a rendering. The track and field are all new. That ball field is currently not artificial turf like it's shown here. And then you can see a blue storage building at this end of the track. And then there's a smattering of small buildings here and there, including press boxes. The grandstand isn't super visible in this image, but you'll see it here in the next slide. So this is a field view of the grandstands. This is from the lower level of the grandstands looking to the north. There'll be a walkway that you can see elevates up onto the lower level of the grandstand, goes across the front of the grandstands, and it'll go out the other side. Really trying to utilize that existing sloped area to help make this a really neat area for the patrons. And this view is really what people will see if they're coming from the arts building area. It provides a really nice concourse up there for people to congregate and get to their seats in the grandstand. It'll also provide a connection to softball that's a little easier to navigate. And then this pathway that exits the screen on the front will go on down to the lower areas at the south end of the track. Just kind of illustrating the great view that's available from this perspective. You can see Mount Hood there in the distance if you peek. And then another view kind of showing a little more about how that structure works. There'll be a concrete retaining wall to allow the construction of those grandstands, and then the extended cantilevered roof overhang will be piers driven into the ground behind it. Are there any questions or any slides you'd like to see again?
I have a question. Is this Clackamas Community College grounds? That is gorgeous. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, the coaching department is quite excited about the potential that this will bring. And the community will also enjoy it. It's not intended to be a closed off facility like some educational facilities have. I think the intention is to make it continue to be accessible.
Yeah, and I'll mention that we have a couple of things that we weren't able to fit into the budget, like lighting for our softball and baseball fields. Those are items that we've been working with the foundation. Are there opportunities, naming rights, or some of these batting barns, things like that? Are there areas where we can even fundraise some money to get some more scope done on this project? That would be exciting if we could do things like that. They showed us a LED video board that you can sometimes see on those tracks that as you're doing graduation, you can see the close-up of the people, and as you're doing summer concerts or movies and parks or other events, you can have that video board there. That's not in scope, but it's something that's only about $250,000. And so there may be donors. They said, our contractor said, there's a lot of times that donors want to come in and put their name on the backs of those boards. So there's a lot of exciting opportunities that we may have in addition to just what we've currently got in the scope of this budget. So we're hopeful that we can even add more to it with some good fundraising, because fortunately athletics gets a lot of popular fundraising that happens, so.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Several questions, yeah.
Um, I just wanted to ask, what type of large scale events will the college be able to hold once this is installed that we're not able to now? And it might be an exhaustive list, so just give us some idea.
Boy, it's an exhaustive list. I will say graduation was the key. We kind of set the baseline as 2,500 seats, which is about what we had at that last graduation with 4 tickets per student. So that was part of the baseline for this, and it's about as much as you could fit before you start falling, you start getting out of space up there. So that was ideal. But you could do 2,500 seats is a lot. When we first talked to our vendors, that's pretty large for this size of a school, even on a lot of that doesn't, it's like doesn't have football, things like that. So definitely is an opportunity. I know President Cook has got excited about, like, can I get Metallica if I got something that big? So we'll see if we can maybe start, maybe not at that level, but can we bring in some kind of summer concert? 2,500 is a pretty good large event for even a summer concert or something like that. So we are going to be taking those into consideration with, and we have pretty good parking around here, and that has access from below and from that upper concourse. So we've been thinking through all those other pieces that sometimes you don't want people to have to trek all the way into the middle of somewhere. This will allow that upper, lower access. We were talking about pull-throughs from above and below for drop-offs. So we're thinking through all that. Is there opportunities for us to be able to program this on a larger scale for some community needs? So
I'll just add for context, I believe the Schnitz is around 2,700 seats, if I'm remembering correctly. And a lot of the conversation going on in Portland right now is about the lack of venues that are around the 2,500 to 3,000 seat range. And that happens to be kind of a sweet spot for a lot of touring performance, not necessarily just music, but all sorts of performance artistry. It's just a gap in the landscape. There's 2 different venues that are going in Portland within the next 3 years that will specifically address that. But I don't think that there's a whole lot of venues, and this was part of the discussion we had way back in the bond discussion, that are that size in this part of the greater metropolitan area. So I think it's, we're creating a lot of opportunity here for a whole lot of enrichment for our community.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. First, this is a pretty unusual contracting method to use, cooperative procurement, right, for construction, right? So I'm kind of surprised. Usually this is not the kind of thing that this is used for, essentially, right? So what were the terms originally for that construction contract, which allowed you to have sort of a general use of a contractor to build something that you have yet to define, essentially, right?
So
Normally you would design something and find either a method, like another means, right, that's allowed for doing this, right? But essentially, you're going to sole source this construction essentially to this contractor, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
The cooperative purchasing model through AEPA is, Target Sports has been awarded a contract within that cooperative purchasing agreement. And that agreement includes Target's, and Field Turf is a subsidiary of Target. They do a lot of the institutional track and field and baseball and softball turf projects. They also have construction divisions, and that's what we're leaning into for these structures. If there's not line items that are specifically addressed in the cooperative purchasing agreement for a restroom building, for example, and they probably aren't quite that specific, there are other line items in the cooperative purchasing contract that include the use of RS Means as an estimating guide. And that sets the cap for pricing for components like grandstands, restroom buildings, storage buildings. But what really will happen in this agreement, and we set it up in the draft contract that's included in your packet, the basically sort of like a CMGC model. We have discrete line item budgets for the various components, and we will work with the vendor on transparent pricing, bidding when appropriate. They self-perform a fair amount of work, but they don't do it all. So there'll be a bidding element. We'll encourage the use of local and small contractors for scopes of work that they don't self-perform. And we'll have transparency through that process. And then we'll have discrete, the college will have discrete approval authority on budget elements as we go along. So softball and baseball will come out of the chute fairly quickly. Those are easy to design. They'll move pretty fast on those, and we'll have a quick opportunity to approve that element of the contract and keep them going. And that'll just be a progressive process through the next, 6 months or so until everything is agreed and off we go.
Yeah, how do you know what you're buying? I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, the drawings you show us are very conceptual,
They
right?
are.
And so even the amount of earthwork that has to get done, for instance, right, to build the landscape that you showed, for instance, right? Those are all just conceptual related, right? When you go to build something,
Right.
what's the risk of a lot of change orders that have to happen in here and you not being able to get what you think you're going to get for that amount of money when you're done,
Right.
right? So you wanted metal seats and now you're going to get plastic ones and so on and so forth, right? And the list goes on in this case, it could be thousands of items, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So the cooperative purchasing agreement, the word cooperative actually means something here. It'll be a pretty dynamic process between the college and the vendor on approval of these individual line items. And we could say, nope, that's enough. We're not doing this anymore if we needed to do that. This particular entity that we're contracting with, this is their bread and butter. And probably 80-90% of the work they do is through these cooperative agreements. So if they stumble here, their reputation will suffer and they won't get these kind of projects.
Yeah, as long as you don't have to eat the bill, right?
As long as what?
You don't have to eat the bill.
Well,
Right.
because of our incremental approval process,
Right.
we
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah, well, I'm just.
We'll know
you
what we're buying when we sign on the individual.
I just think it'll be
project.
interesting to see what actually
Yeah.
gets constructed, right? When you're
You
done,
bet.
right? That and how close it comes to what you expected to have construction.
That's
right?
that's
So this is a
great
pretty
idea.
interesting process. I get it, right? What you're going to do is you're going to rely heavily on the experience of this contractor, right? To give you what you think is going to get built, right? Because you think you know what a baseball field looks like. They think they know what a baseball field looks like. You hope that you thinking
Hope-
about the same baseball
we're
field,
aligned,
right?
right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of disappointments and hurt feelings when it's
Yeah.
done, right?
It's a fairly small community of designers and
Mhm.
constructors in this
Mhm.
arena.
Yeah, I get it, right? Track is a track and a baseball field is a baseball field. However,
For example,
right?
Cameron McCarthy is
Right.
the architect kind of running the show here,
Mhm.
and they're experts at sports facilities. They do work at Nike, like for Nike and
Right.
for U of O and all of
Right.
the big names.
Well, there's some real advantages to that process by I'll just say,
unique.
not wasting a bunch of design time and money, right? Because you want one of these, right?
Right.
And so those are it's just the ancillary things that go on with all the plumbing, the earthwork, and all the other things that has to happen to put it in that grade, in that spot, in that connectivity, and so on and so forth, right? To meet budgets. When you start getting down to the money part of it, is
Right.
really when the rubber hits the road in there, right? So,
Correct. And the
okay.
college did invest in this early design effort with a lot of intention. They did a complete geotech study. They did survey. They're engaging on the storm drainage issues. There's been meetings with the city to talk through those issues. So they are doing what is really exactly the same model we're just launching for the new building construction in terms of exploration and discovery.
Well, the beauty is you probably shouldn't have to get too many other sort of conditional use permits of types of things from the city and otherwise, because you've got the purpose there already, right? And it's on
Correct.
land that you're currently using for the same purpose essentially, right?
Correct.
So,
This stuff is all in the master plan.
Yeah.
In the master plan.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, good luck. I think it'll be interesting. When I saw this, I went, I wonder how the change order process is going to work, and right, and who decides who wins that battle when it's all done, right? It's kind of thing. So, all right. So
We will report frequently.
we'll be watching.
So we had a presentation during the work session and I just have to prove that I was listening. But in thinking I was interested to hear you. I get points with Casey now, and Katie. So I was interested to hear you talk about thinking about pulling in and bringing in local and smaller contractors and businesses. And I spend some of my time thinking about these things also in my day job. And I'm aware that oftentimes it is a challenge to reach some of those smaller businesses that have the skills. And these kinds of projects can really be opportunities for them to scale up, to prove that they have the experience and skills, and subsequently be able to take on larger projects. So there's a real public benefit to what you're trying to do. And I'm curious to hear how it is that you are constructing either the phasing of the work or the bidding process. Are you considering how to break $17 million down into more bite-sized chunks that are the right size for some of these smaller businesses? What sort of work are you doing to connect in particular with our minority and women-owned businesses? And who are you talking to figure out what's the best way to make those connections? See, I did it.
You guys are looking at me, so I'll go. First, I'm meeting with Casey really soon to learn more about the cougar pause. So,
I think you have to do this.
Yeah.
When you say that.
I'm sorry.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Great questions, and the opportunities exist at quite a few levels here. There's about a dozen or so elements of the project you saw on the bullet list there. And they're going to be hitting us in phases, and that's going to be necessary to achieve the rather aggressive schedule they have of getting everything done by fall of 26. But they're bite size, and I think that's a good opportunity to engage some of the smaller firms. I think that will be a fairly continuous discussion between me and the vendor to encourage this big national firm to deal in that market. And the local project manager, his name is Jason. I've been working with him for a couple months now to put this package together. And he is his background is kind of like mine, local general contractor. And we've all been through this in the public sector. Back in the good old days, there were percentage goals that you had to meet, and it evolved into different forms: good faith, equity driven processes for selection. And I'm pretty familiar with all those. I've been here in this region, and I live in the town. I do know a fair amount of the contractors in this region. So I anticipate just a lot of efforts that's going to have to be continuous. I look forward to that, and I will report back as we go through this process. Does that help?
It does, yeah. And I think the part where you do have those local connections already is really helpful. And I think I would just encourage you to lean on those and really take to heart whatever advice you receive on how can we shape this process, the bidding process and the scoping process to really create something that is accessible for those smaller and women and minority owned businesses.
You bet.
Because it can be really challenging, and they often miss out on opportunities because those questions just aren't asked at the right time in the process and aren't asked of the right people. So I appreciate that you're bringing that. I should probably admit that I was in a conversation with Black-owned businesses this afternoon talking about procurement and the challenges. And there are some very real startling gaps. The state recently did an equity assessment of its procurement processes, and learned that we are not hitting the mark. So I'm just really mindful of whenever we're spending public dollars, creating those opportunities and allowing them to really shine and be true opportunities for everyone that we serve. Because, making a living is one of the ways that the community college does provide a public benefit. So Anyway, enough of that. Thank you.
I'd like to add to that, Director Heisey. One of the things that we did in our process for choosing our owners rep, Winnahaw Group, right? They are minority and native owned as well, and so that was important to us in that process. And I do not see that level of desire is going to change as we go forward with all these projects.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other?
I got just a comment of the last bond. They had two acronyms, and I don't remember what they stood for, but I know what they meant to
Sailboat.
represent. Sail and boat, yes. And I think the sail had to do with students and maybe apprenticeships available for students to be involved in the project. And boat might have had more to do with local contractors, using local contractors as much as we could. And I like that aspect of it even then, but it was definitely a focus of the project to accommodate. And I don't know if that's, obviously, we've expressed it here, but I'd like to see that, I don't know, come to fruition again. That was a good thing to do, right? Benefit the locals and the students.
Yeah, and I'll mention that we, Lori Hall and myself have taken the lead on working on really hoping for fall time to have our bond oversight committee, where those invites will be going out soon for the bond oversight committee. And we're also going to kind of work on what those metrics are, because that was a piece of this is, do we want to do the same as what we did before? Or do we want to really look at these projects and what we might try to achieve out of these projects, and what's the right, what are the right metrics and what are the right groups to do it? We may not be the exact same acronyms or same pieces, but something very similar. We're already working closely with student side and how are we involving students? And then as Dale mentioned, we are definitely well aware of the minority and women-owned local contractors here that we're trying to involve as much as possible. Especially, I will say, Ron has a large, call it a large, probably not as large as you'd like, but fairly large bucket for major maintenance, which is a lot of just taking care of jobs here and there around our campus. So we are hopeful that with all that local bidding that we can potentially bring in some local vendors for some of those jobs too. So it's a good opportunity for us. It's not just building 4 big buildings or 5 big buildings. There's a couple large projects, but there's a lot of other things that we're doing as part of this bond as well. So to be coming soon, we're hopeful for maybe our next September meeting that Lori and I are trying to work on something to bring forward with some of that next pieces.
And I have actually been engaged by a couple different academic programs, asking for how we can get some students involved in our processes. Dale and I actually have a meeting early next week to kind of talk about some of that and what aspects of the project, what phases of the project that we can involve these 2 different academic programs that have reached out to me directly. So definitely looking at that.
Excellent, thank you.
This is so exciting. I would just like to say thank you for bringing that forward. How will we know that you need help as far as the getting to the finance part of it? Will you come back to the board and ask for additional funds, or we don't have any, but
Well, hopefully, Joe, my hope is that a donor comes in. You know, if a donor comes in and offers $2 million, well, then we need to bring this as a bigger than $17 million project, right? So there is an element to, but there's also a win-win. It's an opportunity for us to tell that story of that donor that came in and made something possible that wouldn't have been possible. So that's how you would hear, hopefully, about any future updates on more money. But we'll be giving that bond snapshot, giving updates. It's in your board packet of the consent agenda. These were a couple of large projects you saw tonight. We also have the walking trail, which is the third of our projects we're currently really heavily involved with. I do want to thank you, Chair Crenshaw, for being on that stakeholder group, because you've been a valuable walker of that trail, providing input. We just got those drawings of what that actual path will look like. So that was exciting last week when we were able to visualize what this path will look like. That actually came in as potentially being under budget, so it's always nice when you get good news like that. So we're excited about that project as well. Another one we'll be bringing updates to the board on.
Terrific. Thank you. No other questions? Then we will go back and we have to approve this or negate this. So we're looking for the resolution. Our first item is resolution number R25/2604, contracting with Target Sports Construction Northwest for the bond athletic improvements. I'd like to ask for a motion.
Yeah,
I
I
make
move
motion.
to approve resolution number R25/2604, contracting with Target Sports Construction Northwest Incorporated for the bond athletic improvements as presented.
And here a second.
I can second.
It's been motion and approved and second. Can we take a vote then? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? There are no extensions. For the record, resolution number R25/2604, contracting with Target Sports Construction Northwest for the bond athletic improvements has been approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Looking for great things from you. Second item. The appointment of the budget committee member. Someone's two. Joe, I can't hear you. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't talking very loud. Can you hear me now? Sorry. Our next item is the CCC Budget Committee appointment on June 30th, 2024. The term expires for these budget committee members. In position number 2 is Michael Moore, and number 3 is Wade Byers. Both of these budget committee members in the expiring position expressed an interest in serving another 3-year term. The board needs to determine if they would like to reappoint these members at this time or consider opening the position for receiving applications of a new appointment.
I move that we reappoint Michael Morrow and Wade Byer. I know them both well. Good citizens, good community participants.
Also
Both
known
of
as,
them.
also known as Wade One.
Wait
Yes.
one. Where you moved, I need a second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to reappoint Michael Moore in position 2 and Wade Byers in position 3 to the CCC Budget Committee for the term starting July 1, 2025 to June 30, 2028. All those in favor say aye.
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 Are there any noes? No extensions? The motion passes. Okay. All right, now we're on to student and faculty presentations. The association representative reports and comments. Next, we have our association reports from the ASG, Brianna Davis. See here. Oh, yeah, she is. She's on the screen. Brianna?
Hello, yes. All right. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today, but it's a pretty short presentation, just general updates. Right now, we're still working on the hiring and onboarding process for ASG's new members. We still have 2 more positions that we're looking to hire for, but based off the interview process, we're thinking we're going to get that filled pretty soon. And then we also are getting ready for the Cougar Kickoff on September 22nd. Planning is going on for that. I think they're still trying to figure out some budgetary things, but in general, just kind of preparing for that, getting volunteers and whatnot. And then we also still have the office remodel ongoing. Unfortunately, the head of committee, I wasn't able to meet with her this week to get things sorted, but I know that we are working on getting bids on furniture and also getting our computer wiring installed. And then we were also able to finally get the final pantry statistics from last year. And for that, we have the number of visits was 5,228. The number of people served based off the individuals in each household was 18,279. The pounds of food that was donated was, or consumed, 50,085. And then for gleaners, the weight from food that we got for that was 7,732. The amount of money spent on snacks was $1,804. And then other donations, their general weight was 1,545. And that is all of our main updates right now.
That is fantastic. Good work, Pastor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brianna.
Mhm.
Are there any questions? Thank you. Now from our full-time faculty is Charlie Lettermeyer. Oh, I didn't have anything prepared tonight. Okay. Thank you for being here. Yes. We like to.
I just came because I just wanted to be here.
That's great.
Okay, well, you hearing me okay? Yep.
Yes.
So full-time faculty president, yeah, that's me. Nothing really to report. The term right now is going really quite well. Looking forward to the kickoff for fall that's coming up here very soon. So that's pretty much all I have to report. Everything's going great. You bet.
Thank you, Chair Crenshaw. I'm happy to give the president's business report, which is going to be about the president. Tim is doing great. The executive team, were able to speak with him on the phone on Monday during our executive team meeting while he was running. And surprisingly, he didn't sound like he was running, but I guess that's what happens when you run marathons. He made it to Southwestern Community College in Coos Bay and is on his way to Umpqua in Roseburg. On Monday, the 14th, he surpassed 800 miles. Today, he was running just parallel to I-5 outside of Roseburg. He arrived today at Umpqua, and he's now headed to Lane in Eugene. A reminder for all, on Saturday, August 2nd, from 3 to 4 at the Wachino Welcome Center Quad, please come cheer on President Cook as he makes his stop at CCC along his route of running to all 17 community colleges in Oregon in an effort to raise funds and awareness of student basic needs. CCC is stop number 15 and on the home stretch to the finish line in Hood River at Columbia Gorge Community College. We'll welcome Tim to campus, hear a few words about his journey so far and the cause, enjoy some time together. If you'd like to learn more about ROCKS, which is running for Oregon Community College students, thank you. You can get that at runfororcstudents.org. And if you want to join President Cook on his run to campus or elsewhere on his route, please complete the form on the website. You can find Tim on Instagram at Run for ORCC Students or read his blog, which is also linked on the website. So that's the business report. I am going to go off script. I'm sorry, Katie. I was reminded today by interim Dean Ashley Sears that this is the last time she gets to wear her interim dean pin at a board meeting. Not the last time she will be here, but I wanted to take the opportunity to thank her for doing excellent work at 2 jobs this year as our Director of Institutional Research and Reporting and as the interim Dean of Institutional Effectiveness and Planning. So thank you.
All right. Board committee assignments. I think that we have a copy of that sent to us. We're not going to cover this tonight, but if there are anything that you would like to add, Katie?
There is a copy, all of you actually, I printed it out as well, so you can take it home, take a look at it, and we will discuss it briefly at our board retreat, but we're hoping to have this finalized sometime in September. And with a new member on the board, maybe some of you can either think about ways you want to step up or think about ways you want to step back. So yeah, we look forward to any feedback you have for us.
Thank you. The Education Foundation report, and I think I have it here before me. It's been fun covering this group. These are the worker bees. The foundation report is covering running for Oregon's Community College student update. As of Tuesday morning, Tim ran over 800 miles and is over halfway his mark. And he's doing very well. He has sore feet, but that's to be expected. Running by the numbers, he's raised over $82,349 as of 7/15. All colleges have raised some funds, with the Rogue Community College being in second place behind CCC. The average gift has been around $250. The largest gift online was $2,000. Largest gift through a check was $5,000. And there are 3 donors so far have split their gifts over all 17 community colleges. I think that we're going to make sure that they understand that Clackamas Community College is going to be the best. All right. Where are we? Oregon Community College Association asked Jane, is she back or no? Board of Education community reports. Are there any reports from any one of you? Would you like to tell us about something that you've done over the last period? This is exciting.
Go, Tim. I have to join him on Friday. I signed up Lori, right? I'll go down and bring him something for his feet.
Pads.
Man, the heat's got to be killing him, but I feel bad for him. Right? I texted him a couple of times yesterday, and he said it's hot. I said, yeah, I bet it is.
Well, if there are no other comments, questions, thank you all for accepting my nomination for your board lead this time. It'll be a little bit easier. There's too many.
You're doing great.
But thank you so much. And if there are no further business, the Clackamas Community College Board of Education meeting is adjourned.